welcome to Cousin Sal's winning weekend. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving and got their fill of pie and parlays. I had a brutal betache yesterday. I thought for sure Bluey would be the final balloon presented in the Macy's Thanksgiving parade. I know. Well, we're going to bounce back. Coming up, we've got three-time Super Bowl champion, the playmaker, Michael Irvin. We'll talk to him about former Cowboys, current Cowboys, and even future Cowboys. I'm going to ask him who he'd rather see coaching in Dallas next year, Bill Belichick or Deion Sanders, and he will answer. You'll see. And we've made it to week 13, so consider this our bet mitzvah. Later on, we're going to break down this weekend's games with my pal Harry. That is, if I can pull him away from the leftovers. But first, it's time now for perhaps our most dangerous segment. It involves our producer, babyface Joel Solomon, throwing a crumpled up piece of paper with a thought written on it. I'll catch it, I'll read it, and I'll tell you my thoughts on the issue. We call this Tossing Topics. All right, babyface, throw me one. Good start. Thanksgiving games. All right, now that we've all awoken from our food comas, I realized something interesting yesterday. I enjoy football far more than anyone in my house, probably more than anyone in any house. I know, it's shocking. Between pools and fantasy teams and bets, I must keep an eye on the screen at all times, no matter what. Oh, you need me to check on the bread pudding? Apologies. I'm busy checking on a Jahmyr Gibbs prop. No offense, Dad, but even if it means not listening to you yap for the 20,000th time about stealing hubcaps with your hoodlum friends growing up in Brooklyn, I can't miss a single play. I care much more about the wishbone on the field than the wishbone in the turkey. So in order to get everyone involved, I decided we need to create some new family traditions that involve what I'm really thankful for: 3 games to avoid talking to random cousins. For example, here's a game. Every time a ref blows a call, you take a shot of turkey gravy. Given this season, we might be out of turkey gravy by halftime of the early games. But how about this one? Whenever there's a mention of John Madden, boom, you go bobbing for cranberries. And finally, if you see a shot of Jerry Jones picking his nose, you slap a spoonful of candy yams on the top of Aunt Chippy's head. See, I already can't wait for Thanksgiving next season. Aunt Chippy, you may want to wear a swim cap. All right, Joel, hit me with another one. Windy City kickoff rule. Okay, so just when you thought you knew every NFL rule, I found a new one that had been added this season, and this one's a real game changer. Check this out. Apparently, if it's too windy, a 12th man can come out onto the field and hold the ball, but he must run off to the sideline immediately after the kick, kind of like an Uber driver dropping you off at a Mets game, and you're like, hey, thanks for getting me here, now get lost. This is a real thing. Seriously, watch this. Actual 12th man on the Rams blast off after the kickoff. This is a real kick in the nuts to kickoffs. What happened to dealing with the elements? And also, who determines if it's windy enough for a 12th man? Al Roker? If there's a Category 4 storm, can you have 3 guys hold the ball who all have to immediately run off? Besides standing behind the quarterback when he kneels down to end the game, this might be the only play in the NFL I could actually excel in. Look, I've been practicing. So any NFL team, if you're interested in my services, please contact this man, James Baby Doll Dixon. That's my agent. He demands we get paid in cigarettes. All right, one more, Joel. Oh, yeah, the Skeens card hunt. Yeah, the hunt is on for a rare one-of-one signed Paul Skeens Topps rookie card with an MLB debut patch. It's become a black and golden ticket because in exchange for the card, the Pittsburgh Pirates are offering, write this down, season tickets behind home plate for 30 years, a softball game at PNC Park, and a whole bunch of other stuff, including a spring training experience where I'm sure you'll learn valuable tips like learning to drag bunt from Mike Spanky LaValliere. And to up the ante, Paul's girlfriend, Livy Dunn, has offered up her luxury box, see how important adjectives are, to sit with a fan if they trade their card in for the Buccos offers. Okay, let's start with this. There's something wrong with this because the Pirates haven't offered this much to a free agent in 40 years. This team had Barry Bonds, and they were like, nah, have fun breaking the all-time home run record in San Francisco. We've got baseball cards to buy. Also, this is what they think is going to put fans in the seats. Hey, Danny, let's head down to PNC and check out the Skeens card in the stadium gazebo. It'll never happen. Listen, while we're making offers for valuable cards, I have one of my own right here. Hey, Pirates, If Livy Dunn will agree to go to Fogo de Chao with me, this bad boy is all yours. And if she lets me post a picture on my Insta, I'll sign it. 1 of 1, baby. All right, that does it for Tossing Topics. Now let's get to my interview with Dallas Cowboys legend, Michael Irvin.
Don't be cute, don't be pretty, be good.
All right, let's bring in our guest. I've given thanks for this man ever since 1988 when the Cowboys drafted him. And if he ever shows up, he will be my very first pick in any Turkey Bowl I ever play. And he's a 3-time Super Bowl champ. He's a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Even more impressive, he has his very own YouTube channel, The Playmaker, Michael Irvin. What's happening, Michael?
Sal, what's up, man? It's always good to chat with you. And honestly, I appreciate you putting that little plug there for my YouTube channel because I'm learning these new waves and these new platforms. And the one thing, and you know this, the good thing about it is you get to be raw and real, you know, on these platforms, on this platform as you could, as opposed to when we're in these stations and networks. So
right.
I like that part about it.
Well, we're raw and real here. Let as many F-bombs as you want go. I appreciate you coming on. But, you know, I was thinking while watching the Thanksgiving games and these players sacrificing the holiday to work, essentially to work. But some players I've interviewed loved it and some hate it. You come from an enormous family, right? Like you have 16 siblings. It must have come as a big relief for you playing on Thanksgiving. You probably saved like tens of thousands of dollars, right?
Right. Well, but I still had to spend the money on the tickets.
Oh.
And then the flights there.
Oh no.
And then it, you know, I put them all up in the house when I was playing, and then they come in the hotel. I was like, well, shit.
Well, let me ask you, did you ever eat the turkey legs the broadcast team gives you after the game? I feel like that's nearly as good as going to Disneyland, getting a massive turkey leg.
No, getting the turkey leg is as good. But biting into it, man. I think one year Emmett or the offensive line got it. One of them. And I remember them coming back into the locker room saying that was the driest ass turkey they ever eaten in their life. Now, they were just out on TV talking.
Right.
Came right back in the locker room and said, man, that was the driest. I said, you know they can't cook turkey. Turkey, you gotta know how to cook turkey to keep the juices in. Everybody doesn't know how to do that, so you got to be careful.
So you're saying the prop turkey they have, even though it was cooked, sitting out there for 4 hours, wasn't up to standards. Wow.
Right. And I hope the one they had sitting out there forever wasn't the one they actually cut and gave them to eat.
Right.
But from what they said, that must be what it tastes like.
And, you know, I hate to bring up a negative, but that Jason Garrett game, I remember, that was a great one. But there was the one against the Dolphins in the snow. The blocked field goal, Stojanovic and Leon Lett jumps on that. Yeah. What did you did you talk to him after the game, or was everyone like, what the hell are you doing?
So let me tell you something now. Let me set the scene for you. You know, remember Jimmy had this reputation of mess up, I'll cut you just like this on the spot. You know, he's cut guys before on the spot. And I remember, you know, we were right after that game, we're walking in. And I'm worried. I go in, I see Leon crying, boo-hoo, crying, poor fella. He cried on the ground. I said, hey, man, Coach already told me. Because Coach came and talked to me. He said, hey, he's good. I told Leon he's good. I'm not going to cut him. I'm like, why are you crying so hard, man? You're not going to get cut. What's going on? I blew the game for it. I said, Cat, don't worry about it. Leon, we call him Big Cat. I said, don't worry about it, Big Cat. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I said, listen to me, though. Listen. I said, from here on out, you're going to be famous on every Thanksgiving. They're going to play that clip. I swear to you, I told him that then. Why he's boo-hoo crying. He looked up at me like, what are you doing? We cried, right? Now, 4 or 5 years later, we're both out of football. I'm retired. I'm coming on TV every Sunday setting up the clip. I call him every Thursday, every Thanksgiving. Hey, man, we starting the show with that clip. I said, can you believe I said that then? And I'm the one even starting shows with that shit. Can you believe it? He said, man, that's how amazing that was to me. That really is a piece of history. And I went in that bathroom. He was so hurt. And I told him, I said, you're going to be the most famous dude on Thanksgiving.
He was. Yeah. It's a shame he doesn't get royalties every time that clip is played, right? That would have made a big difference. Yeah.
They play that play every Thanksgiving game. And they'll play it again this year.
Oh, yeah.
Every Thanksgiving.
Let me tell you something. In his defense, I don't think anyone knew that was a rule. Like when he kicked it away, I was like, oh, no. Did the special teams coach ever say, hey, whatever you do, if the kick is blocked, just leave it alone? I don't think that was because that was the first time I had ever seen it.
And that's what we talked about in the locker room. I didn't know either. Right. I thought it's like a punt. No matter who gets it, it's still our ball. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean? So, no, when they kick it, I guess, I still don't know the rule. When past the line of scrimmage, I don't know.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Right. When past the line of scrimmage. And then when he touched it, oh my God. Mm-hmm. And Big Cat's he's the greatest dude in the world, man. We went on to win a Super Bowl.
That's right. That's right.
But Big Cat's the greatest dude in the world. So we get to talk about him every year.
Yep. Our Cowboys, sadly, are not making the playoffs. I hate to break it to you, but they're not getting there without Dak, and too slow a start, and all the other teams are better. Those are the three main problems. But let me ask you this. I have a lot of friends who are like, let's just root against them so you get a better draft pick. As a former player and a super fan, I have trouble doing this. Do you have trouble? Can you root against them at this point for better draft positioning?
I've always, since 1988, on Sundays, I've been in conflict. I've had to beat somebody's ass on the football field when I was playing for the Cowboys. And then as soon as I retired, I went right into TV. So every Sunday, I've been defending my Cowboys. So I've been in conflict. I took off this year to have a year to be at my restaurant watching the game with football, with Cowboy fans.
Right.
And this the shit I get.
Yeah.
This year that I'm taking it. And now when I finally say, okay, maybe they have something here. Maybe it's time. Just worry about the draft pick. Let's just lose the rest of these games, and maybe we can get Shador and Dion come in. We get them both. I know Dion wants to stay in Colorado, but I asked if you had a chance to coach your son, would that make a difference? That would make a difference. So I had my plan together.
Give me odds. I think you started this rumor to begin with, but now it looks like this could potentially happen. Dion to the Cowboys next year.
I think it will be absolutely incredible. Let's talk about the landscape of the NFL right now. You got to be a great mentor. You got to, because these guys are getting paid now, even in college. So when I was playing, money was a great motivator. But now these guys have been making money all the while. So now what are you going to use to motivate them? A great motivator and a great mentor like a Deion Sanders. He's more applicable now than ever.
That's a good point.
Ever.
Yeah.
And I think he would do great.
All right. I don't want to put you on the spot. I feel like I know the answer anyway. But from Jerry's perspective, everything else equal, if he had a shot at Deion or Bill Belichick, which direction do you think he goes?
You got to go Deion here.
Okay.
You have to go Deion. No slight on Bill Belichick, but the reality is, we just talked about it, since there's no dominion over anymore. That's how Coach Belichick coached. That's how Jimmy Johnson, those guys coached. We just talked about it. Coach will cut you if you missed a play or messed up on a play. Those days are gone because these contracts are guaranteed in such big numbers. So it's not about having dominion over players. You got to know how to work with every player, work with each player. Deion's one of his biggest concerns coming in the league is, what if you get the wrong kind of quarterback? And now you and the quarterback it's not working together. Yeah. It's not working together. And the quarterback, they get coaches fired all the time. I understand that concern. I do understand that concern. That's why I tossed out that little pebble. But what if you can go coach your son? Then that'll be different. And that he would do, because he doesn't have to worry about that having that relationship issue.
One less barrier. It's already a tough job. All right, listen. Yeah, now you got me excited for next year already. We got to take a quick break. It's our halftime, but we've got lots more with the great 88, Michael Irvin, when Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend returns. Welcome back to Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. We're back with Pro Football Hall of Famer, 3-time Super Bowl champ, member of the Dallas Cowboys Ring of Honor, Michael Irvin. Michael, did you hear Jerry Jones is considering Jake Paul for the Ring of Honor? Did you hear that? I don't know if you heard. I'm kidding. You got nervous a little. You almost tightened that sweater on your neck. I got nervous.
But you got to give Jake some credit. I said that to him. I said that to everybody. I mean, you know, we were talking about Deion the last moment. 3 minutes ago. Now Jake Paul, I'm putting him in that class. See, Deion blazed his own trail. He didn't go the conventional route. That's a hack that he has done to get to where he is in the business. Jake Paul didn't go the conventional route. That's a hack that he implemented in the boxing business. I got to give that man much credit. So, no, I don't think he should go in the Ring of Honor. But with 80,000 people up in that fight the other night, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I know, but that sucked. You sound like someone who didn't lose money on Mike Tyson, unlike me. I don't know what I was thinking. That was very sad.
Did you really bet that
I bet
fight?
on it. I know that's what everybody says. What the hell did you expect? A 58-year-old. Right. But I was just hoping against hope Iron Mike would take him out. But all right, listen, one thing I might actually make money on is this NFL season, because I have the Bills and Lions back in August. I picked them to meet in the Super Bowl. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Of course, the Chiefs with only one loss are still in the driver's seat. Who does the playmaker like as we speak Thanksgiving week to meet up in the big game in February?
But that first choice you had is a great pick. Mm-hmm. Bills and Lions. That's a great pick. I like right now when I look over and I still it's hard for me to come off the Kansas City Chiefs. We talk about going back to back and how tough that is. You get everybody's best game. Imagine now coming back to back one more time for a third time. Carolina is playing like they're great. Bryce Young played his best game because everybody's measuring themselves against you. And all of that, they're still winning. But I like your pick with the Bills. That'll be my second, even over right now the Ravens. And I like the Lions on the other side.
Now, tell us once and for all, is the MVP a quarterback award, or does Saquon Barkley, who's having just a magnificent season, have a shot at it?
And it's crazy. I know last time, I think Adrian Peterson, in 2011 he got it?
That was it, yeah.
Well, back then. And really, so they need to just make a quarterback award, top quarterback, and make that an award, and then really make this an MVP award. If we make it a real MVP, let us do a quarterback award, and then move the quarterbacks, and just whatever, do an MVP. I would love that.
I like that idea. I like that. Yeah, because the last couple of years, your wide receiver brethren, it was like Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson were having great years, but they didn't have a chance because the quarterback is the winner. Yeah.
Let's put the top quarterback and then an MVP on the team. We understand the value of a quarterback. So the top quarterback award would be a big award, but the value, the MVP, I would like to see the best out of everybody else. Who's the MVP on their team? I would love that.
All right, one quarterback that's not winning MVP this year, I'm pretty sure, is Aaron Rodgers. Are you surprised at all that the Aaron Rodgers-led Jets are falling apart, or is this something that you could have predicted?
No, I did predict it. I knew that the Jets were going to. Not that they could not have success. It was the approach they took towards success was going to assure them of failure. They wanted to come in. Let me tell you how I explained this. I was telling someone this the other day. Okay, Pittsburgh has an identity. Mike Tomlin, that's what it was. Pittsburgh took an old Super Bowl winning quarterback that was all pro and everything, and added it to what they do. They say, hey, listen, just hand the ball off. Don't make mistakes. You are part of what we do. New York took an old quarterback, MVP, Super Bowl winning quarterback, and said, we're going to ride your arm to a Super Bowl. Now, if New York had taken Aaron and said, we just want you, put us in the right play, and don't make mistakes. Aaron hadn't thrown for 300 yards in years, even when he was in Green Bay. And you bring him over here and you try to throw the ball all over the field, it's not going to work. If you play great defense like they were doing year before this and have a good run game and let that be your base and let Aaron Rodgers be added to it like Pittsburgh added Russell Wilson, then you could have been in a different place. But they did everything to set up Aaron Rodgers to prove to everybody they jumped in his fight. I'm going to prove y'all I can still play. I can still throw the ball. I'm still the MVP. No, you're not.
Right.
And you should have been added, and you shouldn't have been the main protagonist of that show.
I agree with you. I just don't think you understand the power of ayahuasca. That wasn't a popular drug back in the days, right? You hadn't even heard of it.
I hadn't heard of that one now, but it sounds like something, man.
He had to do what Brady did, right, as far as he saw it. But we got spoiled by Brady, I think is the problem, what happened. But all right.
Yeah, but Brady went to a great team with a great team. Brady got a great team, and then he put it together. And then he did certain little things, that people don't ever talk about. Like when Brady got there, this one tight end was going to, say because Grunt was coming and he was going to retire. Brady goes and sit over his house and talk to him and say, listen, I'm going to draw up this play for you, this play. I want you to focus on this play. And the guy had a great year. That's leadership. Yeah. The guy wanted out. He was asking to leave. And Brady went and talked to him and said, no, went and talked to everybody and gave them their role. Went and sat down with them, spend time with them, eat with them. Aaron is on this retreat you're talking about. I always say to people, you can't do this and then in the fourth quarter come to these kids. Come on, man. Let's go. Give me something. What do you have? The kids, you haven't seen them all season. They don't even really know you. And they're sitting there looking at you like, you make $50 million. I'm making $400,000. You go win the damn game. I know. Why are you yelling at me? It voids you of leadership. Now, if you spend that off season, what I told you Brady is doing, or go to one of their events that they're putting on in their hometown, not charging, just show up. Then you got the right. And you'll have the authority to say anything you want to him in the fourth quarter, and he'll respond. Yeah. He'll respond. But you can't be going on retreats. No. And you can come back and these guys are going to play for you. But I don't ever think, let me tell you, and I tried to tell Dak and these other guys, I don't know why they can't do this. Why they don't take this page from Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't miss any money. But we always heard he took less money. Patrick Mahomes, I don't know how the hell this works. He signed for $500 million. And what did everybody say? He signed a team-friendly deal. He left money on the table for his teammates. Whether it's true or not, it's the fact that you put it out there that gives you the authority to say stuff to these dudes in the fourth quarter. Like, I'm here because I want to be. I left money on the table to get you here. Let's get our shit together and go. You're right. That's what those two has done, put together. And I don't know why nobody's caught that. Nobody, the two greatest to ever play our game is known for leaving money on the table. And these other quarterbacks got these damn agents who's trying to build their empire and they're not selling the same message to your teammates and you. I don't know. No, I'm with you. And by the way, I think that's smart. I think I'm going to use that around the house. I'm going to go tell the family, hey, you know what? I'm leaving a lot of money on the table staying here with you people. I could leave in a second, but we'll see. All right, Michael. That's another thing, though. You have to leave a lot of money on the table when you leave them too. Right, all right. You're going to have to go make a lot of money, but you got to leave a lot on the table. I'll leave it under the mattress, maybe not on the table. But all right, Michael, I have one more question for you. We call this Cousin's Conundrum.
Cousin's Conundrum.
All right, here it is. Cousins Conundrum. All right, it's Black Friday, and you are a representative of the Dallas Cowboys, and you are tasked. You know what Black Friday is. You go around, you shop, but this time it's at the NFL outlet store. So you're essentially a general manager, and you get to pick a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, and a defensive standout that's currently on another NFL roster. But you'll be adding them to the Cowboys next season. You understand? You have 30 seconds.
I get to pick.
You're running through.
I get to pick a quarterback,
running back, wide receiver, and a defensive standout. 4 players. 30 seconds. Grab your cart. Go.
Anybody. Wait, anybody?
Anybody.
Oh, man. My defensive player is going to be T.J. Watt. I'm going to go right there. I'm going to start there. I'm coming back. I'm taking Justin Jefferson at wide receiver. I'm taking Saquon Barkley now at running back. And my quarterback, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, man. Was that too easy? Maybe that was too easy for a conundrum.
That was way too easy.
Really?
First of all, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes over. That's a different dude there.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is a different dude. But that's easy. That's easy.
Damn.
Especially right now.
Yeah.
You got a quarterback right by what? You imagine that? Patrick Mahomes, Saquon Barkley, and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. All right. Well, you got me. I try to stump you, man. You got through the outlet in about 18 seconds. Good job by you.
But I talk football each and every day. That's all I do.
Listen. You do it. You're the playmaker. Subscribe to Michael Irvin's YouTube page. It's out there. Michael Irvin, you're the best. Thanks again, as always. I appreciate it.
Appreciate Sal. Always, man. Thanks. Man.
All right. We'll be right back with Harry to give out our Week 13 winners when Cousin Sal's winning weekend returns. Back to Cousin Sal's winning weekend. How in the world do we follow Michael Irvin? Well, we do it with this handsome specimen. I am thankful for his friendship for the majority of the 35 years I've known him, at least half. From the Against All Odds podcast, our very own stuffed turkey, Harry Gagnon, is here. Harry, what's happening?
I'll take half, Sal. What's up, buddy? How is everything?
Well, listen, everything's great. People don't know the story. I don't really want to get into it, but I brought you home for Thanksgiving when I was 19 years old. To my family's house. It was 34 years ago now. You remember that? Cowboys beat the Redskins, 20 Redskins at the time, 27-17. And I presented you to my friends like I had a brand new Chevy IROC. You remember this?
Yeah, absolutely. Great times. Your mother's sausage rolls, fantastic stuff.
Sausage knots. Yeah, I think they're still stuck in your esophagus. You can't get it out. All right, Harry, let's get right into it and try to cranberry the books out there. I know how much you love them, so we'll start with Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs back home at Arrowhead, taking on the Raiders in the Black Friday game. 12.5 point spread. It went from 13.5 to 12.5, 42.5. Is the over-under. Raiders have a real quarterback controversy. Aiden O'Connell or the great Desmond Ridder. Gardner Minshew bowed out. He's out for the year now, so it becomes a little more manageable. But like Ridder last week, the Chiefs aren't really interested in covering spreads. I don't think they're going to let the Raiders sneak up on them on Black Friday like they did on Christmas last year. Give me the minus 12.5. They looked like they were going to score in the mid-40s in that Panthers game. I know they didn't. I know it was they barely won at the buzzer. Maybe they felt bad for the Panthers. I don't think they feel bad for this Raiders team. That whole cigar thing celebrating Antonio Pierce and his guys during happier times. Andy Reid is going to lay the smackdown on these jackholes. 2-5 against the spread last 7 for the Raiders. Mahomes has fun with this 33-16. Lay the 12.5. What do you like?
I hear you, Sal, and I'm going to go a little different here. How about this? I'm going to take the Chiefs in the second quarter only, minus 3.5 at minus 128. You mentioned KC got back in the win column with a win versus Carolina, and the Raiders got quarterback issues, forced to go with Desmond Ridder now that Minshew's out. Mahomes has led Kansas City against the Raiders, beating them by 7 or more in the second quarter, 3 of the last 4 meetings. And Las Vegas, Al, is minus 52 in point differential in the second quarter of the season. You believe that? Minus 52 overall. and I'm only in 128 minus 3.5. Give me the Chiefs in the second quarter.
This ends up being you rooting for field position at the end of the first quarter, but I do like it. I like the bet. All right. Chargers 1.5 point favorite at Atlanta. 47.5 is the over-under. They got tripped up by the Ravens Monday night. Brother versus brother. Atlanta coming off a bye. They're a weird team. I'm taking the Chargers minus the small spread. I give them the coaching and the quarterback advantage. And defensively, they are the number one scoring defense in the NFL. This is going to be tough sledding, I think, for Kirk Cousins. Chargers 6-0 against the spread in their last 6 games against NFC South opponents. LA 26, Atlanta 17. What do you have?
Yeah, I'm tough one here, Sal. So I'm going to go a teaser. I'm going to go 6-point teaser. Atlanta up to plus 7.5, and the game to go under 53.5. A short week for the Chargers. Meanwhile, maybe Atlanta figured a lot out coming off this bye week. Speaking of the bye week, well, Captain Kirk was in Minnesota. He never lost by 7 points or more coming off a bye week in Minnesota. The Chargers are first in the league in points against, even after Monday night's debacle against Baltimore, giving up 30 points for the under. So, and aside from the Falcons' other 7 games this year, aside from playing the division, all their other games have been under 50 points. So give me the Falcons with a little more than a touchdown. Give me 7.5, and the game to go under 53.5 on a 6-point tease.
We can't get away from these teasers. I have a couple coming up too. Cincinnati 2.5 point favorite at home against Pittsburgh. Division game, fun one. 46.5 is the over under. I'm going to take Pittsburgh. This might be a sucker bet whichever way you go, but Pittsburgh has covered as a dog in 3 of the last 4 in this matchup and 4 of the last 5 overall in this matchup. Cincy 1-3 against the number as a home favorite. I don't like going against Tomlin after a loss. They had 10 days. I know the Bengals have the rest advantage too, so I'm not going to go against Tomlin. Bengals will lose, and it won't be Joe Burrow's fault. We've seen this time and time again. George Pickens against bottom 10 defenses. That's going to be the difference. He always lights it up in that case. And by the way, keep an eye on that Cousin Sal Steel City special. Bengals first half, Steelers to win the game, pays about 7-1. What do you have?
Well, Sal, I'm going to go the Bengals. I'm going to lay the 2.5. You know, Cincy was my Super Bowl representative out of the AFC, and I'm still not giving up on Joe Burrow and the boys. 12 touchdowns for Burrow in his last 3 games, and not a lot of offense 2 weeks in a row out of Russell Wilson. If the Bengals were to pull this one out, they got Dallas, Tennessee, and Cleveland next up. The Bengals, I think they bring it. Burrow is 3-1 straight up in the last 4 versus Pittsburgh. Give me Cincy, 24-18.
All right, let's do another division game. Houston at Jacksonville. This was 5.5, went down to 4.5. 43.5 is the over-under. Stroud had to throw a miracle touchdown with like 20 seconds left back in September to beat the Jags. Trevor Lawrence probably back, and I'm going to take the points here. I'm going to take the Jaguars. I get that they're not the most trustworthy team, and I know Houston has had success in Jacksonville, but I don't think we're betting last year's C.J. Stroud. I think it's that simple, and this line is too rich even at 4.5. It was 5.5 for a division game. Stroud, 3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in the last 3 games. I don't know how Coach Middleseat survived, how he's still employed, but his team will fight just hard enough to keep it close. 21-18 final, Harry. What do you like?
Over the past couple of years, Jacksonville's had some pretty good success against Houston, so I'm going to take the Jags. Team total over 19.5 points at minus 120. In 3 of the last 5 games, the Jags have scored 27 points or more, and they did score 20 in Houston earlier this season, plus 3 of the last 4 versus the Texans. They put up 20 points or more. Then this Texans defense isn't great in giving up 20 points or more in 9 of their last 10. Only time they didn't was against, your Cowboys, Sal. So really, that shouldn't count. So really, that shouldn't even count.
We're going to cut that out. No one will ever have heard it, so that's good. I'm glad you made yourself laugh. All right, Minnesota 3.5 point favorite. 44.5 is the over-under versus Arizona. I look at the big play guys in this game. Marvin Harrison Jr. has gone over 54 yards receiving only once in his last 8 games. Justin Jefferson inexplicably walks away with 27 yards last week receiving when Darnold had 330. He's only broke 100 twice in the last 9 games. That's why I'm going under. I lost a point. It was 45.5. I get 44.5 now. They win these games, the Vikings do, methodically, and they have the number 1 rush defense, which is not good news for James Conner or Kyler Murray. Number 4 scoring defense overall. The under is hit in 10 of the Vikings' last 14 games as a favorite. I see this as a sluggish 24-16 type game. I think it goes under by almost a full touchdown. Harry, you like that score as well, I think, 24-16.
I do. I'm going to do a parlay. I'm going to take the Vikings money line. I'm not going to lay the 3.5. I'm going to take the Vikings money line in the game to go under 44.5 pays plus 181. Sal, Minnesota might be 9-2. And I'll take them, but I'm going to take the money line instead of laying the more than a field goal here. Laying the 3.5 would have bit you in the butt last week versus the Bears. Darnold was really good in that game. Sal, I'm admitting it. He was really good.
Yeah, you hate Darnold.
I do, but he was really good. Minnesota is 4-1 straight up at home. Only loss was to Detroit by 2 points. Last 4 Vikings home games have gone under 44.5 points, and the last 4 games for Arizona have landed on 38 points. Or less.
All right, let's do Indianapolis. 42.5 is the over-under. They're laying 2.5 at New England. This used to be a nice division game. No longer. They realigned everything. This is my first maybe obvious pick that I'm going to get burned on, but I'm going to take the Colts minus 2.5. I know they have some injuries on their offensive line. They're on like their third center. Could be a little trouble because a couple of weeks ago, the Pats sacked Caleb Williams 9 times, but I think New England took a turn. I feel like the coach, Jared Mayo, may have lost the team. And, you could love Drake May if you're a Pats fan, but offensively, New England has been terrible this season. Scored 16.5 points a game, average about 280 total yards of offense. By the way, May has also fumbled 5 times this year. No one wants to talk about it. This is a must-win for Anthony Richardson. No Deflategate, bad blood here. Indy covered 4 of their last 5. Colts win 19-14. What do you have?
I got another weird one here, Sal, though. I'm going to take the Colts in the second half, their team total, to go under 10.5 points. I'm laying $1.35 here. The Colts were shut out by Detroit in the second half last week. And overall, whoever is a quarterback for Indy, whether it's Richardson or Flacco, their offense seems to shut down in the second half of games, going under 10.5 points in 4 of their last 5 games in the second half. You wouldn't think this, by the way, but the Pats defense, Al, has given up under 10.5 points in the second half in 5 of the last 6 games.
You love saying Flacco. You really do. Like Flacco.
I'll never get it right. All right.
I'm not going to expect any more from you.
Never going to get it right.
A 1.5 point favorite at New York Jets. This is in MetLife. 41.5 is the over-under. These 1.5, these tic-tac terrorist lines. This is weird. This will probably have flipped 4 times by the time this airs. 1.5 for Seattle, 1.5 for the Jets. I don't know. I'm going to close my eyes and take Seattle, the better team. I know it's a screwy line. I have to think this Jets team is done. I think the bye week probably didn't help. There was just more noise in the New York media throughout the 10 or 12 days, questioning how bad they are. Confidence, none of it is instilled in this team, certainly not by their quarterback. Seattle's defense was solid against Arizona, especially on 3rd down, and then against San Francisco the week before. You got the Jets. They're going to have trouble moving the ball. I don't even know if Rodgers starts or finishes this game, but Seattle should score. Jets allowed 59 the last 2 games. Geno Smith's homecoming. Jets 3-7 against the spread in the last 10 games at home. Seattle 5-1 straight up in the llast 6 on the road. I'm not overthinking this. 27-13 Seattle.
Yeah, see, I'm with you, Sal, here. Seattle much better on the road. Kind of weird this season. And look, I love being dead on about how the Jet season has gone when we predicted, gave our predictions for the season it is, and how overrated the team was, and how Rodgers is also. So Seattle is, by the way, won 2 in a row and find themselves somehow in first place in the NFC West after a week ago being 5-1 to win the NFC West. Crazy stuff. They're 2-1 versus the AFC East so far this year. In the last meeting, they went up against the Jets. They won by 37 points. Would love to see a repeat of that, Sal, with Geno going up against his former team. So let's do it. Final score prediction. 37-0 Seattle. How about that?
Oh, wow. 37-0. That's practically
nothing for Rodgers. We don't even, it's Thanksgiving and all, but he doesn't even get a field goal. 37-0. Right.
I'm going to bet 37-0. Let's do it. That's fun. You could do that on FanDuel. Washington 5.5. This is the last early game in the afternoon. 5.5 and 44.5 against Tennessee. Washington's home. They have lost 3 in a row. One of them to my Cowboys. It was one of the worst teams imaginable. I don't think they're in a complete free fall yet, though. They could still make a run with 7 wins. They'll probably win this game, but I'm going to take them under 26.5 points. The Titans on paper are the type of team the commies should be facing to get right, except that their defense is excellent. Number 2 overall, number 1 against the pass. Going to be another tough game for Daniels, who looks like he's playing through a few injuries. He's 63% completion rate the last 3 games. He was close to 80, Harry, in those 4 games, that 4-game stretch where everybody fell in love with him. I'm not counting on Levis, but hopefully there's just no pick 6 in here. And I like Washington. I got 2 extra points here added. I don't know where it came from. Washington under 26.5, team points minus 116. I think 19-16 final.
Yeah, let's hope the Levis got his pick 6 out of the way last week, because I got a 6-point teaser. I got the Titans plus 11.5 in the game to go under 50.5. Sal, how about the Titans this past Sunday with that win in Houston? I'm going to ride with them getting more than 10 points on a teaser here. They're 2-2 straight up in the last 4, and the 2 losses were under 11 points. Plus, Washington on a 3-game skid, and as for the under 50.5, not only have all 5 games in Nashville gone under 50 this year, Sal, but how about 8 straight in Nashville under 50.5 points? Titans with the 11.5, under 50.5 on the tees.
Okay, but what if I told you this game wasn't in Nashville?
Don't tell me that's not true, is it?
Harry,
Don't screw me up like that. Don't screw me up like that.
Let's take a quick break. Harry has to feed the meter and look at a map, and by the meter I mean himself. When we get back, we'll break down the rest of Week 13 when Cousin Sal's winning weekend rolls on. Welcome back to Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend, here with my pal Harry from the Against All Odds podcast. We have the late afternoon and the night games here we have to go over. Let's start it off. I don't even know why this is a late afternoon game, Harry. Tampa Bay, 6.5 and 46.5 at Carolina. I'm going 2-team teaser. Tampa Bay minus 0.5 and under 52.5. I grabbed the Bucks at 5-1 to win the South a couple weeks ago. I don't like having a South bet because it's ridiculous, but now they're plus 260. I think they're just better here. They have Carolina twice. Bryce Young has definitely been better, but that's why I'm taking the Bucks on a teaser and not straight up. The total has gone under in 4 of Tampa Bay's last 5 when playing on the road against Carolina. Baker's offense ranks in the top 10 in passing, rushing, and scoring. White and Buck the Duck do their thing on the ground. I think this is going to be similar to the Giants game, 27-16. That's my teaser. Bucks and the under. What do you have?
I got a same game parlay. I'm going a little against you here, Sal. Same game parlay, Carolina plus 8.5 on adjusted line, with the over adjusted at 38.5 at even money. The Panthers are playing much better of late, winning by 1 and 3 and losing to Kansas City only by 3 in the last 3 games. Hubbard's been real good on the ground for them. In the last 4 home games for Carolina, they've averaged 54 points in the game. Baker and the Bucks have been a high-scoring team on the road. They laid 30 on against the Giants last week. I'm going to go again, Carolina plus 8.5 here, getting more than a touchdown, over 38.5 for the game, Sal.
All right, let's keep it moving. Rams on the road at New Orleans. They played Sunday night. They didn't look great, but listen, -3 and 48.5. This moved up from 2.5. The Rams are favored here. Every other game, the Rams offense explodes. 26, then 15, 28, then 20. We catch them on the hot week. I'm taking the Rams here. Over 48.5. A lot of points there against a 29th pass defense. Big games for Nakua and Kupp. Derek Carr playing well. 5 touchdowns, no interceptions in the last 3. 70% completion rate since the new coach came on, Rizzi. The Clogger has gotten his team to play competitive ball like they did in the first couple weeks. Total's gone over in 4 of the last 5 Saints game. 29-26, going over 48.5. What's your pick?
I'm going to go Saints money line, Sal, plus 124 over LA. Who knew that just firing Dennis Allen and hiring Darren Rizzi would get the Saints winning again? Rizzi's 2-0 with wins versus Atlanta and Cleveland. And Derek Carr has 4 touchdowns and no picks in those games. Carr had 3 touchdowns versus the Rams last year. The X factor, though, is BYU grad Taysom Hill, who had 6 touchdowns this year, had 3 in his last game versus the Browns. McVay's team is too inconsistent, and the Saints stifle Stafford and the Rams. Saints money line.
All right, marquee matchup here. 2 teams that really should be around in late January. The Ravens home, 2.5-point favorite against the Eagles. They come to town. I love what I saw out of the Ravens Monday. What we saw out of the Eagles wasn't too shabby either. And Saquon Barkley, who you just used to crush me in fantasy. The battle of the top free agent picks, Barkley and Henry, battling probably for Offensive Player of the Year. Brandon Graham out for the year. That could be big. right? Huge loss for the Eagles. One less thing the Ravens and Lamar have to worry about. Baltimore, 3 of the last 4, they scored 30 plus. I'm taking them minus 2.5. Very hard to stop Barkley. He's had 400 rushing yards in the last 2 games, over 400, plus 470 to break the record. Probably a one-score game, but I'm going to take the home team here. 30-23, same score as Monday. Who do you like?
I'm going to take the Eagles team total, Sal, over 23.5 points at minus 26. The Eagles have scored more than 23 points in 6 straight games. Cha-ching on that one. I really feel that's the way to go here. Barkley's had over 500 yards of offense in the last 2 games. Baltimore has given up more than 23 points 7 times and has given up 23 exactly twice this season. The Eagles have one of the most explosive offenses in the league. Fly, Eagles, fly, over 23.5.
All right, Sunday night. Now, I thought, Chris and Mike would probably hope for a better game here. San Francisco hasn't really shown up the last couple of weeks, but Buffalo is a 6.5-point favorite. It's in Buffalo. 44.5 is the over-under. Buffalo off the bye after beating Kansas City. They have to be feeling pretty good about themselves. But this is where the NFL gets screwy. Kitchen sink game for the 49ers. I think Purdy's going to play. I feel like we'll find out more about this tonight and tomorrow. I'm going to take the 6.5, kind of where Shanahan shines, right? They're 8-1 San Francisco straight up, and their last 9 played in December. The calendar has turned, Harry. I think the Bills win a close one. 49ers still a top 6 defense. They're talking about Bosa maybe coming back. Greenlaw's practice window open. Either way, I'm going to take my chances that they contain the Bills' offense for the most part. 24-20, I'm gobbling those points. What do you have?
Yeah, I'm with you, Sal, but I'm going to do adjusted line at minus 130. I'll take San Francisco up. I'll take them over a touchdown, plus 7.5. And yes, San Fran was brutal against Green Bay, but the defending NFC champs bounced back with a much better performance in Buffalo. Time to get McCaffrey going. Kittle still had a good game last week. I can't see San Francisco getting rolled again. They're 2-0 against the spread versus the AFC East so far. Just 2 of Buffalo's 9 wins are versus teams with over 500 records. San Francisco keeps it close. I'll take a touchdown on the hook here in an adjusted line, Sal.
All right, we're running out of time. Denver 5.5 on Monday night favorite, 41.5 against Cleveland. I'm going 2-team teaser. Sorry, Raheem, I'm teasing through the 0. Denver plus a half, under 47.5. Denver beat the Raiders. Cleveland coming off a beautiful, entertaining game against the Steelers in the blizzard. Bo Nix continues to pull away, possibly NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. But the Broncos' defense is the story here, 3rd in the NFL. Sean Payton's team 9-3 against the spread, 5-0 as a favorite. I just need them to win. I'm not expecting much out of Jameis and the Browns' offense. 27-14. What do you have?
Lovely, Sal. I like that because I'm with you on Denver. Winston had his moment in the sun or snow, whatever you want to call it, on Thursday. But the fact remains Cleveland is 3-8, and Denver looks like a playoff team. Next to Cortland Sutton is clicking. Denver gives up the 3rd least points in the AFC, and the Broncos pounded the Browns in Denver by 17 last year. I expect the same outcome this time. Cleveland 0-4 straight up in the last 4 on the road and have lost those 4 by an average of 16 points.
All right, we did it. You Plymouth Rock that, pal. Great job, H-Dog. You go back to sleep, and we'll be right back to wrap things up on Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. All right, welcome back to Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. The tryptophan is starting to kick in, so that's going to have to do it for this week. My thanks to Michael Irvin, an absolute legend, and a legend in his own mind, Harry, for giving us all those Week 13 picks. And most importantly, thanks to all of you for watching and listening. And please, always remember, you may feel like an underdog, but just know you're all my favorites. Happy handicapping and happy Black Friday.